exact same as we get in towards our HyperX draft. My brain completely farted.
That's okay. It happens to the best of us. And the worst
And
of us.
me.
But also the best of us. But LYON versus FURIA, going to be a fun one. LYON, I will say, from kind of the LCS bias POV, I do think they played some of the late game fights really well, but they made it a lot harder than I expected for themselves because I think some of their setups weren't as good. But I also agree, we were talking about this off camera, where it's like FURIA was kind of making it difficult for them. They were taking space really well. Tatu was, really being aggressive, and I just wasn't missing anything.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible to see. And I think you can already see that focus is going through in this draft as well, trying to get Tutsz off to something with the TF, kind of the focal band there for me. This is something that we've seen a lot from Tutsz. 4 times, one of his tied for most played over the course of the domestic split. This is clearly, we do not want this man popping off like he did in the last game.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Because the triple ban towards him, generally people are going to say, okay, well, Tatu is the real star. But if you don't feel like you can ban Tatu out, maybe they feel like they can get more of an advantage. And Camille going to come down here, which in this tournament has always meant that it is going support. And that was kind of a big question we had is Azael going to play that style? And if he does, how will he look?
Yeah, because one of the big things that we were talking about over breakfast was, Isles tends to be more about, hey, I want to play for the lane. I'm not going to roam a huge amount. I'm going to try and hard focus winning in the 2v2. This isn't the case, though. This is a champion that you want to get out of the map already. Work with your jungler a lot as well, which has been more inspired, focusing on his own clear and his camps and getting that golden experience lead through there. So a very different look, it would feel like, for LYON opting in towards the meta here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how they perform. And if it is one of those expected pairings, such as Ziggs or Mel, that's kind of what you're looking for generally when you do see them come out. There's, of course, a possibility that they're just like, no, we're just going to play it top because you're going to play a tank or something weird. But there is the Ziggs, and we're definitely expecting this to be down in the bot lane for Berserker as well as Isles. And I will say, I'm probably more nervous for Berserker playing a Ziggs than I am for Isles playing Camille. Berserker has always been the AD carries AD carry.
Yeah.
This guy wants to play hyper carries. And he is 0-4 on Ziggs all time, which does not surprise me at all. I think, he can definitely perform on these other champs. We just haven't seen it from a while. And when you think of Berserker, you think of Sarah, you think of Gnar, you think of Aphelios, you think of late game AD carries that can team fight. Even his Ezreal was brilliant. But this is just such a different style. So I wonder how it's going to look. And yeah.
And Casey showed us what happens when the AD carry picks up the Ziggs. So we'll have to see how Berserker.
He solo killed someone.
He did. That is true.
That is true. Part.
Yeah.
And then what was his team doing?
But still, I am very curious to see how this one pans out, because I do think the good thing for the Ziggs is a lot of setup, right? Like the Wukong being able to knock people up, the Camille with the Hex ultimatum, like it becomes much easier for Berserker to land a lot of those rounds.
No, I completely agree. I mean, it's just so interesting because I feel like a lot of people, when they think of Ziggs, traditionally they think of you're standing 500 yards away and you're just wave clearing it. But Ziggs can actually win a lot of 2v2s very, very heavily if you're using your satchel well, interrupting dashes, using your satchel to stop a crash down from a Rell, and then all of a sudden Camille hookshots on her and she doesn't really have any recourse. But if you are just playing it super far back, it's generally not going to get that much value. So we'll see how he does perform on it. But traditionally not a guy who really plays outside that standard meta throughout his career.
On the opposite side, though, very good, strong composition being dictated here by FURIA. The Vi and Cassiopeia already an incredibly strong pairing. We saw already a lot of dives start to form here from LYON with both the Camille and the Wukong, so the Cassiopeia going to get a lot of value there. So I am curious now, how do we try and follow this up? Because in the first couple of fights that we saw in game 1, it was FURIA having the better setup and the better control and the better vision. So do LYON now try and rectify that, or can FURIA cover their angles and really enable Tutsz on this Cassiopeia?
Yeah, that's going to be a big question. And Cassio is one of these champions that can be really difficult to deal with. It's a very similar style champion, I feel like, to Ryze, where you kind of hit that certain point that you're so tanky. You can't ignore the champion, but sometimes it's hard to burst them down, and it's kind of that like push and pull of exactly how you want to play it out. And double mid lane ban here, trying to protect that Cassio. 3 mid lane bans were thrown toward Tutsz, and he is going for the Cassio, which is obviously a strong meta pick. So I'm curious to see where Saint will go. We did see Cap bring out, long. We sometimes see aggressive options. Sometimes people will play still like Yone and champions along those lines and try to just snap back as the miasma comes out. But you can also just go standard and say, all right, I'm just going to play Victor and just laser you far away and kind of just match that scaling.
Yeah, I do wonder because, like, obviously with the Ziggs in the bottom lane, it does open up some AD mid laners like the Yone if you really want to, but double AD coming through from the jungle and mid lane, always a little bit difficult, but the Aurora for that top lane.
Double AP solos, yeah. So, kind of something a bit unexpected, I will say here from Guigo. Didn't play it at all in the split. And so they're considering just going in towards the Galio. I do think Galio is obviously very strong with the Camille. It's a great combo, can be quite powerful. I do think they might need a little bit more consistent damage from
Yeah,
Dhokla.
that's what I thought as well.
So I'm kind of wondering, that might also be the read from FURIA. They're saying, like, you have to play some sort of AD champion that's going to bring some consistent damage, and Aurora's going to be good into whatever you pick. So maybe that's the thought process. But I like Gnar as an option because I generally feel like if Gnar does not get bullied early...
Unless Cassiopeia bot lane?
It could be. We'll see if they're really cooking. They could also just be trolling us with the hover.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. So, yeah. So it looks like they will flex the Cassiopeia to the bottom lane in towards the Ziggs. So already FURIA mixing it up, and maybe Raz's Mage Infestation becoming a little bit more true here.
Yeah, that is wild. I mean, so this is first ever Camille for Isles. Yeah. I'm going to check IU all time, see if he's ever played Cassio. I would not be surprised if he has not.
Yes. It still feels a little bit difficult for the Cassiopeia to try and play this matchup, though, because the Ziggs does have the range on you, the Satchel Charge to try and buy space. So definitely cooking, but I'm curious if they might have burnt themselves a little bit in this.
Yeah, I was trying to think it out, too, because generally I feel like Cassio, you're really good into champions that rely on the dash, short range. Yeah. Makes sense against Camille.
Yeah.
But Ziggs can also just poke you from far away and get the push, where Cassio could really struggle against champions that outrange her. So it's interesting. It's very interesting.
And the push is the main one that like sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
It just then goes, okay, Camille, I'm going elsewhere. I don't have to deal with your miasma in the bottom lane. I can just look towards elsewhere. So
agree.
Again, I think that's kind of going to be the focus here, but also then comes back to that conversation of different play style for Isles. How does he then look on finding these roam timers?
Yeah.
And I think like Isles over the course of this year has really kind of grown as a player. He's kind of been on the lower tier team, now picking up his first championship. This would then open up another chapter in that book for him, which I think is an incredibly interesting story.
It is such an interesting story because, like you said, Isles has been around for a very, very long time, but he has been on perennially teams that finish at the bottom of the standings, and people... It's difficult to judge how good is an individual if you're on a team that always loses, right? It's really hard to see, especially if you're not in the games, you're not in the scrims and in the comms. And Isles got a really good chance to join a pretty star-studded roster. Both Berserker and Inspired have been MVPs. Saint was obviously a really high prospect. And to see him get this chance and really make the most of it, I think is such a cool story because it's not often that players very late in their career do get a chance to kind of change the trajectory of their career.
Yeah, it's incredibly interesting to see. And again, I'm hoping that now we can see him kind of open up that next page on the Camille. Is already nice engage on towards JoJo. Does get flicked back, but don't think you have like a huge amount of consistent damage here until you hit that level 2. But still a decent trade back from FURIA.
Yeah, not bad at all. Isles a little bit worse for wear off the back of that. You can see Dhokla feeling like he's going to be on the back end of this trade. Interesting tech. He is going lethal tempo. So I have seen more lethal tempo Gnar, but generally into Sion and Ornn and, some of these types of champions. Maybe he feels that in the team fights, he's going to be getting ignored and you're going to be going for Berserker, you're going to be going for backline, and he's going to need that consistent damage. As Isles goes in, does utilize that passive shield, but takes quite a bit of damage on the back end of that trade. Still, Berserker first to level 2. LYON have the push as expected. And Isles can start to try to move around the map here and threaten a little bit.
Yeah, you can already see the vision control is down to spot out Oz, though. There's one there in Banana Brush, even over by Raptors. And Tutsz is just playing towards that top side of the map, making sure that he's going to be fine. So I think it's going to be a difficult play here for Oz to really find anything.
Yeah, it can be tough for sure. Nice sidesteps by Guigo a couple times in a row, as this is Inspired's time in North America. He has been a player that is really taking over in this region. Came in as Saint, looking for more. I think he's out of damage, so we can go back to talking about Inspired. But he has joined now 3 different rosters, from EG to FlyQuest to LYON, who had not won in the league. It's not like you're coming in, you're joining Team Liquid, who's won a bunch of championships, and then you keep winning. He's coming in and he's joining orgs who had never won in the league, and then making them the winner. And that is why, I kind of started to pose the question when we were going into finals, how far does he have to go to become the NA GOAT potentially? As Isles is actually only level 2 here, and he's stuck in the miasma, and it's looking like he is just dead for free. Stepped out of lane to try to threaten a roam. Down in experience, gets caught there on the engage in the miasma, and gives over an easy one to Ayu. That's a rough look.
That is a roughie. Completely just caught out. And like, this was kind of the big conversation. What would the Camille look like for Isles? And not looking comfortable from the get-go. The immediately kill, the one kill already going over towards Ayu. And this is the first time we've seen Ayu pick up the Cassiopeia. But if you are already off to a run like this with an early tier, this is perfect for them.
Absolutely is. Inspired looking to try to double scuttle here, but JoJo is first there, and the scuttle's going to be grabbed by Inspired, so he does pull that off. Berserker now moving up. There's a lot of people converging in this area, as Berserker now in a pretty awkward spot, to be honest, and Isles is going to have to run for it. Still level 2. Getting pushed back by Ayu, has not been able to pick up any experience, and Lion is kind of getting pincered right now. JoJo could look for Isles. He has no hook shot. Berserker fighting on the side against Ayu. As in comes Saint, there's battles on either side. Saint getting pushed back by Tutsz. Inspired gonna have to clone away. Good dodge there. Now hook shots in, stuns Tatu. Crash down though onto Isles. Has to run for it. Still level 2, mind you, burning, and it's the flash in from Tutsz to finish him off. Isles is looking like an easy kill so far in this second game. Inspired goes back in, working on JoJo. Ayu incredibly low on that bot side. The flash has been forced from Berserker. Ayu still has his. Berserker will push him back, but won't be able to get that kill.
Lion just overcommit to try and defend their jungle. Fury were just in a significantly better position. They'd already pushed off Berserker. They were able to wrap in towards the Raptor camp, and Isles ends up giving his life for it. And as you say, he's still level 2. So you're only getting back into lane, and yeah, it's a disaster for the Camille supporters.
Really, really tough, right? You know, you give up an easy kill that you shouldn't have given when you had push on bot side. Then JoJo is roaming, so you feel like, hey, I'm the Camille, I gotta be roaming too, I got a match. As Guigo in a little bit of trouble here, does use the Drakehound step to absorb that proc of the hyper there from Dhokla. Tutsz is missing his flash here as both top laners trying to push for level 6. Will be Dhokla getting that level 6 here faster, I think, but Guigo actually gets it off the minion that dies there, and now Dokla's got to be careful. Does get up to level 6 here, and probably will just be looking for a reset, as Isles now level 3 and going to be looking for a Tutsz, potentially. Does push him back there, so he just hops away to safety, knowing he has no flash.
I was going to say, it's a brave move as well, because there isn't really the vision to spot out where Tatu was, and I think if you'd committed to that buy, more than happy to come over the wall and ruin that play. So I do think kind of Lion needs to take it a little bit slower, try and spot out where Tatu is, get the vision to figure out a game plan before fully committing to this.
Yeah, it can be tough for sure. Early game not really going the way that they were hoping, but same can kind of be said at times in the last game, and Lion were able to fight back and stabilize, so we'll see if Isles can do that. The 2 early kills, obviously both on him. Everything else pretty even when you're looking across the board. It's just Ayu really with that first blood gold that is kind of separating those 2 bot laners. And Saint thankfully has a CS advantage that is keeping him pretty close to Tutsz.
JoJo trying to get in behind Berserker here. They're waiting for him to step up because that wave is pushing away from them. But with now the Camille showing on mid and getting the push, they're going to move down towards bot side.
Public execution used there just to escape as Dhokla has the lethal tempo stacked and Guigo's got to leave. So Dhokla doesn't spend his ult, gets the ult off of Guigo there, and a really nice trade post-teleport, which is always an important time here in these 1v1s. If you can get a good chunk, force them to take a tough base, you can sometimes get a couple plates there and really build an advantage. As Tatu, again, looking for the invade here. He's level 6, Inspired, gets the smite, gets a level 6 of his own. Saint is around, has that ultimate available to join, but JoJo had first move, now being matched by Isles. Both supports level 3. Tactical sweep going to miss here. Tatu charging up that vault breaker, decides, you know what, it's not worth fighting here.
JoJo has spent so much time in the tri-brush trying to see if he can get that flank onto Berserker that he hasn't really got any of the levels himself, actually sitting behind Isles when it comes towards the experience. But Isles stepping forward.
Yeah, Isles stepping forward, and Isles going to be another kill there. As Tatu spends the ulti, does knock him down, has to pull off the Dragon to do it. Dragon will reset. But it is the 3rd kill of the game for FURIA and the 3rd death there for Isles as he was scrapping with JoJo, but not respecting the fact that Tatu could still be in the area.
Yeah, I just don't know what the game plan was for Isles. Like, your jungler had already pulled off, you're level 3, you know that Tatu's 6, and ends up just giving across a kill. So Tatu going to pick up a bit of gold off the back of that for free. And again, continue to march around the map. I think at this stage, you kind of need Inspire to link up with Oz a little bit on these plays, but still the Camille level 3 kind of makes her so vulnerable now whenever she tries to make these plays.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking over at a level 7 Aurora, at a level 6 Tatu, a level 8 Guigo. The level 3 Camille is not feeling very threatening. I mean,
not the deadliest.
It's great that the bot lane players can soak up that experience, but at the same time, you do need to get some levels eventually. Both of these supports, though, are still sitting in that same point, and Isles is still ahead in experience, so even though he's dying, he's honestly not worth a lot of kill gold, so it's not the end of the world. JoJo here was expecting a dive and looking to match, but Tatu going to jump into the pit on this red buff. Sweeper does spot Isles Insane in the area, as Inspire will claim all 3 of these grubs, which is quite nice when you have a potential pushing sidely with the Gnar, and also this Ziggs who wants to hit towers.
And now FURIA have to try and cover for this top dive. JoJo going to be able to get there, but again, only level 3. Needs to be careful.
Gnar into the wall, great buffer, but in comes the Ziggs ult. A well-played dive here is going to be set up by Isles. Dhokla jumps forward, grabs a second, and in comes Saint. The satchel knocking him back into the ult there from Saint. And Tatu flashes forward, looking for Dhokla, will be able to get it. Isles and Berserker in the area. Ayu has arrived. Looks like the fighting may dissipate. Inspired baiting with the clone there. Tutsz thought he was running into a clone, but he was running into Inspired as Tatu is back on the Krugs, and it means that the Aurora has to flash out to safety here. LYON win out on that play. Nicely done.
Especially getting the TP from Ayu, because Ayu had pushed in on that bottom side, could have looked for plates, and maybe that could have been the advantage that FURIA were able to gain off the back of that, but by investing it, he comes up, sure he gets involved with the play, but it means that LYON still come out with that kill advantage.
And Berserker performing pretty well there. Good ultimate, and I really like the satchel interrupting Tatu, knocking it back into that Galio ult.
Yeah, we get to see it here. So Guigo, you can already see multiple members of FURIA trying to get into position. Use the ultimate to try and interrupt on the CC, but there's so much damage that comes through. JoJo basically taken out as Dhokla flashes in to secure this kill. But this is what you're talking about, right? The satchel to knock the Vi back in, so Tatu ends up getting caught. He goes down, and there's just Dhokla who ends up falling into play. So honestly, for LYON, I think you're going to be very happy with the way that one panned out.
Absolutely are. As you said, got the TP, got more summoners, and did get the additional gold. And only 2 plates remaining on that top lane tower. First tower gold, excuse me, is up and available. You have 3 grubs, you have a Ziggs, so if they can get access to that tower, it could go down in a hurry. But has got to be respectful, knowing that he has no flash and no ultimate is pretty vulnerable.
Also a ton of vision on this top side for LYON, basically spotting out wherever Tatu's going to go. And as you say, you've already positioned the Ziggs in that top side to try and get the tier 1. So Tatu, as soon as he is not spotted on these wards on the top side, I think that's where the focus is going to come from LYON. But you can already see JoJo spotted out, doesn't get the interrupt. But will mean Berserker has to take a couple of steps back.
Yeah, Berserker will back up, but he is aware of the fact that JoJo is coming in. He threw that pink ward down and obviously was spotted on the recall as well. So both supports matching each other on the top side. And now Dhokla trying to get some damage down here onto Ayu, but not liking what happens when he goes for a trade there. You rush steel caps, and now you're laning against a Cassio, which is not a very comfortable position to be in. But Isles now moving down. They're looking for a potential setup, but Tatu is in the area as well, and Dhokla's already low. So this likely is going to go bad here for LYON if they commit to the play.
Dhokla gets the stun.
Gets the stun, does scoop him into the wall, flashes back, but in comes Tatu, and Tatu should surely finish the job. The teleport going to be in here to answer. Tutsz on the side, chunking out Isles, and Isles is going to have to just run for the hills. They do get the TP from Guigo, which really wasn't needed, because now you're giving up mid lane and top lane. That's going to be first tower gold for LYON, so even though FURIA got the kill, really not worth it. Kind of overcommitting there with that teleport.
Yeah, especially because you'd already forced Berserker away from the top side. He used the ultimate to clear the wave, but had lost some of that CS to the tower. So you would have lost Berserker gold and then get the kill on bot, and then you would have been able to keep that pressure. But now you lose the top tower, you got the plates in mid, and suddenly, even though you got that return kill, it's not quite as valuable as you would have liked.
Absolutely is not. A couple of ultimates spent, the teleport spent, but Guigo clearly thought it was about to go down. Yeah. And you know what? You can respect him for having his homies back.
I mean, after the last game, you kind of expect it to go down all the time. But, I mean, Dhokla gets the stun here, but just doesn't have enough damage in the tank.
Exactly.
Sees that he's got both his junglet support coming, but it just wasn't expecting Tatu to be able to get there. The auto attack as well from Inspired means that Tatu's able to get the kill before the Cyclone comes through. But now we're back on towards the mid lane. It's just Dragon about to spawn. And Tatu doesn't have his ult available, neither does IU. So I think LYON trying to see if they can find that timing window, but they're down a few ults themselves.
Yeah, we'll see. Isles is trying to soak experience to get 6. He's very close to it, so he will get it on this wave. JoJo a full level away from 6. IU does have that Rylai's, which is going to be super nice against all of these melee champions, all these short-range champions. When Gnar goes Mega, 4 of your 5 are melees against an early Rylai's here on IU. Inspired waiting for the Cyclone. Isles does get 6, so they will have that ultimate advantage. Pretty big that JoJo is down that level, because now you can look for the Galio ult, the Ziggs ult, everything to follow up. And Isles, even if he just is kind of that one-way trip, it's going to be a good trip.
And I do think that's kind of the mistake that we've seen from JoJo. When Isles was falling down and going 0-3, wasn't soaking experience, was trying to see if he could make plays or at least hide off the map, but it means that now he is down. So LYON with Isles in position. You have Guigo starting to move down, though.
Yeah, Guigo is moving. He has no TP. Dhokla does have his teleport, but we'll see if he's actually going to use it. Isles going to be jumped on. Inspired should be able to just clone to safety. So another move that is going to be a bit of wasted time there is Guigo, again, thought there was going to be a fight, but just kind of getting over-eager. Lets Dhokla push in the wave top. He's probably going to take away the Krugs. You're just bleeding gold.
And Dhokla had gone Mega Gnar, so I think FURIA were like, oh, maybe this is our chance. We can actually try and find the play. But instead, late to the party, Dragon goes down. You get those resets. And again, LYON just finding these small little timing windows as Saint. Great trade onto Tutsz.
Yeah, and going to try to look to be able to run him down here. Don't think he has the damage to kill, but does push him back, and he has rushed the Abyssal Mask, which I know a lot of people don't love it when it's solo AP, but this is a team with Ziggs as well, so I think it is quite valuable in a situation like this, especially when there's both a Cassio and Aurora. You're getting value on both sides.
You're also getting so much value from the Ziggs in general, right? Like, he's pushing at the Cassiopeia mid lane. There's only 3 turret plates there. That satchel charge will very quickly take that down. And now, because you got that trade into Tutsz, you're very quickly taking the spot lane tower. And Dhokla maybe set up for a dive here, but he's about to go Mega, so FURIA can't really do much.
Yeah, with just 2 members and him under the tower in Mega, it would be wildly risky. I think maybe if you have 3 or 4, you can overwhelm them, but they did not have that in position. And this game, feeling like FURIA's getting run around the map a little bit.
Big time.
I felt like they were playing the map really, really well last game, but it feels as though they fell behind on 1 or 2 plays, and now they're feeling pressure to kind of make up for that. And then so they're always trying to show up to the next play. And LYON is saying, great, you go there. I'm going to keep hitting minions. I'm going to keep going for towers.
But it is also kind of these individual moments where, like, Saint does get that trade on towards Tutsz that then sets up for the bot lane trade. This Ziggs Cassiopeia matchup, despite the early kill, hasn't quite gone as they would have liked, with Berserker constantly been able to push in and get into positions on the top side to get that tower as well. And now we're committed to the Rift Tower.
Yeah, they're going for it. The Herald is already gone, but can they get the fight? Guigo is the one being focused down. Isles going to get burst out, though. The first kill goes the other way. In comes the Galio ultimate, knocking up multiple members. Dhokla about to mega out as LYON wants to get more. It's 1 for 0, though, for FURIA and the Herald, as LYON show up too late and get nada.
Yeah, way too late. They tried to get in, but the turnaround play, and with IU in a good position, that was a perfect fight for FURIA, and almost reminiscent of Game 1 with some of these objective setups.
Absolutely was. They got the flash off Guigo and Tatu, so that is your very small reward, but Tatu does survive, gets the Herald before the fight even starts, and then is able to grab the Herald and get out. So that could lead to the first tower of the game there for FURIA, which would be nice for them. You really want to keep Ziggs in an uncomfortable position, so if you could take away that mid lane tower, it could be nice, but they are looking potentially here for Guigo. No one from FURIA in the area. Going to go for it. Guigo does get stunned up by the hook shot and looks like he will be getting ran down. Has no flash, has no ult. And it's just a one-way ticket back home.
Nice job by LYON to find there. Isles just roaming down to the bottom side, realizing that Guigo stuck around a bit too long after the objective. And it does mean now LYON gets some control on this bot side river, get the vision down. May need to start to shift people up towards this top side, though, because you can see both Tatu and Tutsz trying to see if they can take down that low health tower. Don't have a wave quite yet to do so, though.
This is interesting. Guigo actually rushed the Endless Hunger there, so pretty atypical build, as Saint is going to be able to hold on to this tower. Tatu, of course, if he wants to drop the Herald, they can get the kill, and not going to elect to do that just yet. Would love to save it for that mid lane tower, but the mid lane tower does still have all 5 plates, and Ziggs is kind of just posted up, chilling, farming. And I think Ox is going to be pretty happy with the Ziggs build because there's no defensive items just yet. Yeah. Ox is a big believer that you need to stand in the right place and then buy the items to do the damage.
Well, I think Berserker in the right place, and honestly, so are LYON, right? Like, I think this team works incredibly well with the Ziggs just wave clearing mid. You have 2 strong side lanes, especially with that lethal tempo on the Gnar, and just try and play through that strength. And you've got a 1k gold lead on Dhokla, but Inspired's cost.
Yeah, they're going in on Inspired. They're going to try to burst him down. The Cyclone counter engage is very good as JoJo tries to flash away. Inspired will fall. Isles in trouble. He's dead now too. Dhokla has Mega, but he's probably going to have to run. Here comes the Galio ultimate. Does arrive, but connects on no one. Berserker fighting as best as he can, but Guigo's going to take Dhokla, who flashes out very late. This fight is a disaster for LYON. Saint flashes out, but he can't get away either. The Rylai's is doing so much work as FURIA chased down for kill after kill after kill.
FURIA find that pocket of vision and make the play work. The pick onto Inspired, right as we were saying, LYON are in a good spot to set up for this 1-3-1, but they play just in this small little spot. They have the Cassiopeia that comes around and Inspired gets caught, gets jumped on, and there's the double TP immediately from FURIA that sets up for this play, as you've got this Galio that's still trying to run down from the top side. Doesn't have the teleport, only now gets in range for the ultimate, but this fight is done and dusted at this stage.
I mean, the thing that really hurts for LYON is not only did so many of them flash, but 3 of them flash in a row as they were dying, when they're really, really low. So now you don't have that for the initial setup again, as we got to go back to live because it is FURIA over on this dragon. Will the fight be breaking out? It looks like LYON are in the area, but deciding, you know what, we can't fight this. Instead, it is just going to be another kill onto Isles as he takes his 6th death of the game. Has been a tough one for Isles on his Camille debut.
Yeah, sometimes trying to adapt to the meta doesn't go your way, and I think we're seeing that a little bit for Isles in this one. Hasn't quite been able to find that success, and again, like, I think LYON had their moment there, but with FURIA finding the pick, now starting to get towards dragons, you're getting towards 2 items on towards this Cassiopeia, and even Guigo picking up a double kill in that last fight has kind of flipped the script on some of that side lane matchup as well, accelerating him towards some good items. I think for FURIA, much more comfortable now to continue to play towards these objectives.
Completely agree. I mean, LYON was in a pretty darn good spot prior to that fight, but losing the fight, losing the dragon, losing the summoners, and then losing another free kill from Isles off the back of it was definitely a bit tough for their chances in this game. Still, all that being said, it is just the 1 dragon lead, and we're basically dead even in the gold. The real concern is just, will Isles ever be able to get that value, given that he's so far behind and he is so squishy? Of course, you can always look for a hook shot and an ultimate, and maybe that's just all you need with the fact that you have the Ziggs, you have the Galio, you have all these extra tools on your team.
It's just the survivability is the biggest problem, I think, because if you die, the Hextech ultimatum disappears, and you've got a 3-kill Cassiopeia that's got so many levels on you on the opposite side. Same when you look towards Tutsz, like, it does become a little bit difficult. I think it has to be, as you say, that like quick 1-2 punch of the immediate Galio ultimate, the immediate ult from Berserker, in the hopes that you can make it happen, but it needs to be a pick. I think in fights, Oz is just, actually I was about to say Tatu might have been a bit of trouble, but yeah, if Isles is kind of in the middle of a team fight, I just don't think he survives before he goes down.
Time to see how good AP Camille is. We're going to need his Zonius.
Yeah. I was like, how expensive is GA these days? You know?
Saint maybe in some trouble here in the side lane. Remember, he has no flash, looking like he's going to get chased down. 4 members up here on the top side. Inspired was moving up to see if he could cover, but then they realized there's way too many, and now it is potentially a Baron start here for FURIA if they want to risk it. Would be pretty tough, though, with Berserker still very strong. So instead, they decide, you know what, let's just play for some other more minor objectives. See if we can steal away some camps. And Inspired has cleared out that side of the map, so not really going to be able to get much more than just the tower top and the kill.
Still, though, they are still keeping a lot of their side lane is in check, right? Like, obviously top tower, but you end up moving Guigo down to cover that bot push from Dhokla. That mid lane tower still stands, which is probably the most shocking point for me for LYON. Like, I expect that to be the focal point, especially with this Ziggs being able to take it so quickly. But they just haven't been able to establish themselves successfully in the side lanes to now move that pressure to the mid lane. And we're 2 minutes out now from this next Cloud Dragon. You're starting to get those second item completions coming through for the mid laner as well for FURIA. Like, this is going to be a very tough scrap, and there's not really much pressure on the map that LYON can create right now.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough one for sure. So much comes down to the engage, right? You've opted into this very squishy, very fragile Camille. Rell on the other side, a lot easier to play. You know, you kind of just go in and it's just a lot easier to survive and still kind of have that similar value. I feel like if LYON don't get that first punch, get that first kill right off the bat, it's going to be tough for them to win a fight.
And I think that's why I love the observers showing here just how dark the map is for LYON, because it does become very tough when you're getting punched first.
Yeah, Saint going to lose half his health there. Should be able to walk this one out, I think, but instead they're going to go across the veil. They're popping all of the ultimates to knock him down. Inspired looking for the counter engages. Everyone shows up. Guigo is there. Berserker is trying to get involved here, but this fight is all FURIA all the time. Back-to-back kills and no one on FURIA really threatened besides Tatu. So surely now they will be starting up the Baron. They're going to pull it. They don't have their jungler just yet, but he is sprinting back out from base. Ziggs has no ult. Neither does the Wukong. I'm not sure they can really even approach, but they're going to try to see if they can look for a steal here. Isles get some vision on it. Tatu is now back, and Inspired going to find that out with a fist to the face. Tutsz getting chunked down here by Berserker. Isles flashes in, drops the ultimatum, but I don't know if they have the damage. They do get a shutdown, and now it's going to be a bit of madness here as FURIA has to run. The teleport coming back, and FURIA thought it was their moment. Tatu still trying to see if he can claim this Baron, staying around, looking for the smite fight. He's into the pit, but it's going to be claimed by Inspired, and Tatu is going to pay the iron price for the attempt at the steal.
Tutsz takes a step too far forward, and immediately LYON punish. This could have been their moment, but instead it's that purple aura surrounding the NA representative. As here, great pick on towards Saint. And you can see how much damage they're able to come through. FURIA played slow, they wait for Tutsz to get his cooldowns back up, and that combo able to come through, but it's the wombo combo that's a bit more womp here for LYON, as they're not able to really find that success with Berserker's ultimate, and FURIA get the pick. But it's afterwards, as they step up into the space, that it ends up causing them issues. Tutsz here immediately jumped on by Isles. FURIA tried to turn, but there's so much damage from Berserker when he's able to sit and just whack you away with these bombs.
I mean, people think you pick the Camille for the early game for the roaming. Nah, you pick it for the 24-minute Baron fight. That's really where it power spikes in my experience. It's an easy mistake to make, though. You know. Yeah. Well, and then Tatu goes in, it tries to steal it away, but that's costly for FURIA. You know, they had a really good play and just weren't quite able to pull it off. I think if Tutsz doesn't get caught there, if he just plays it a little bit further back, Tatu is back, and they could probably just focus the Baron and then just try to run.
To be fair, though, I also want to give a shout out to Berserker, because this Ziggs has been really, really good. The ultimate didn't really land because didn't have the setup alongside Isles there, but either way, like, the satchel charges have been great. His zone with the E has been fantastic, and you can see the total damage there. He is doing work in this game.
Yep. Him and Tutsz on the other side, who did get shut down in that fight, but 5-1-5, very strong still here on the Aurora. And Berserker obviously has been great throughout most of this game. Now does have the Seekers, and he can sit on that, maybe go towards the Death Cap if he doesn't need it, and if you do, obviously you upgrade that into the Zhonya's, because now he's very difficult to burst down. Obviously he was always so squishy, but if Vi ults, if everyone sends it, well, that's what the Seekers is for. You're trying to stay safe in that way. They're going to send it again onto Saint. Saint very far up, and Saint has no chance, no ability to respond to that one from LYON either. Saint been getting picked off. FURIA just constantly punishing this Galio, who's positioning too confidently.
Yeah, especially as LYON had just gone for the reset. We saw Dhokla going for that recall in bot lane, and FURIA using that timing window to get the pick on mid. And it's, as you say, these small little missteps that are going back and forth on either side that are giving the teams a window back into this game.
Yeah, it does feel like a little bit of that kind of first match nerves here. As Inspired going to find JoJo, will get hit by the Shattering Strike, but Isles and Dhokla are moving in. Berserker's coming up as well. They want to keep them involved. They're going to try to turn, though. They're trying to burst down Dhokla before he can get the Mega. The ultimatum comes back. Great satchel from Berserker. Knocks Tatu back to his base. It's a double for Inspired, and LYON want more. They are hunting through the bushes. They spot Tutsz. Good sidestep there from Isles. The hookshot connects. He goes between worlds. He's trying to run for the hills, but he's on the wrong side of the map. Dokla's about to Mega out. Won't be able to burst him down just yet. The Steric's going to get popped. He's kiting. He is threatening here. Hookshot back up, and now they get the kill. 3 go the way of LYON, and it's starting to feel like maybe they're getting control.
LYON are collapsing faster in these plays. Berserker able to get far more value by moving up through that mid lane. And this was one of the big things we talked about, that push between the Ziggs and the Cassiopeia. It is enabling LYON to make it to these side lanes quicker, and it's exactly what turned that play in favor of LYON.
Well done there by LYON. You know, they knew that Tatu, Guigo had spent their cooldowns to kill off Saint earlier, and now we check in on the Coinbase gold grind. Berserker only has 4 games of Ziggs in his career, had yet to get a win, but is doing really, really well, farming well, playing in the fights well, positioning well. I'm impressed by Berserker. Yep. This is something that I wasn't sure how he was going to perform, and he's building that confidence for me.
Yeah, this has been a fantastic game for the Ziggs. And especially, as you say, like, I think then opens up a lot more in that bottom side of the map, even as you start to draft in towards the later portion of the tournament, which is fantastic. Camille, not certain on, not to be paired alongside it, I will say. But Isles has been much better as we've got in towards the later portion of the game in some of these engages. So I do think I want to just see that link up between Isles and Berserker on the ulti combo. This is one of the main reasons why you do take it, but they've been a bit desynced. Sure, because a bit of the chaos that FURIA have been thrown their direction. But now, LYON, this is where you have that same level of control. You've got your side lanes in a good spot. You can start to try and push out, try and play for those collapses on towards the mid lane, play for that push out towards these objectives that are spawning just over a minute.
And you can see double Seekers there for Saint and Berserker. Now Berserker is level 16, and he's got himself a nice hat. And that means the ultimate is terrifying, because if you connect on really anyone on the other side, not like Ayu has Zhonya's, not like Tutsz has Zhonya's, all of these guys are very vulnerable. If you get locked into Camille ult, Galio ult, Ziggs ult, you're dead.
Also, the Imperial Mandate for Saint, kind of with the changes to Imperial Mandate, insane on the Galio. Cool down on any of your CC abilities, very strong for a champion that has a lot of CC built into the kit. But here's the setup. FURIA already trying to establish themselves, and it's that Tatu Guigo combo we want to look at.
Yeah, Niall's going to be looking here. Guigo forced to flash. Ayu on the side, trying to defend his top laner. Will do so successfully. Isles is put relatively low. Guigo held onto the ult, but loses the flash. We'll see if Isles wants to go for a reset, or if they just want to fight with the HP they have now. Tutsz trying to chunk him out. Tatu on the side was looking to threaten, as Dhokla is going to have to build back up that Gnar bar. You can see Guigo just went back to base, has the teleport and the ultimate available, and Isles is going to be caught on the side, interrupted on the hook shot, and he is just food for FURIA. Tries to flank, but gets spotted and punished, and that is a big-time kill. Dhokla moving back over, has no Gnar bar whatsoever to speak of. It will just be the third dragon for either side, but Inspired wants to fight for it. He is going in behind. Tutsz is going to spend the ult on Dhokla. Dhokla needs time to base potentially and go back, but Inspired wants to fight right now. Here they go. The Ziggs ult comes through. Berserker goes on a rampage as Saint drops from the sky, but Inspired drops from the map. He's taken out. This should be the dragon going to Tatu. Is going to be able to claim it and move themselves to soul point.
JoJo with an insane interrupt on Inspired's engage, just clipped him with the ultimate that then set up for Ayu to burst him down with that petrifying gaze. That 1-2 combo may have just saved that fight for FURIA. Insanely close stuff though.
Really, really close, and had Isles been there to actually set up for the fight, it's a completely different look, but he wanted to go on the flank. I'm not sure where he thought they even were.
Now walking across vision as well. Like, this was way too far from Oz. Immediately burst out. But watch as this fight starts to kick off, because Inspired obviously looking to see if he can get that flank opportunity. You're getting some decent poke down onto Dhokla on the top side. But as Inspired goes in, watch for JoJo's ultimate in just a moment as he dies. Just clips onto Inspired here, which then sets up for Ayu to get the petrifying gaze, buy that space that they need, and as FURIA then are able to kite back out of that initial setup, that would have been devastating if that Wukong got the ultimate off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great catch. The whole team got involved. He got hit by the public execution, by the petrifying gaze, by the Rell ultimate. Everything hit on him. Inspired, it definitely felt like he really wanted that fight, but I mean, Dhokla was chunk low. You know, he had TP. They could have tried to slow played it and just kind of go for something else, but felt there was still an angle to win there, even with Dhokla low, even with Isles dead. And you have to respect the vision that he had there. Just didn't quite work out because FURIA were equal to the task, denied him from even getting that Cyclone off, as you're calling.
It makes it very tough to try and play out these fights. And again, we're kind of seeing like LYON want to line up this wombo combo, but it just hasn't been able to come to fruition just yet. It's been more about these side lane picks and plays that they've found that success through, and kind of looks like that's what they're going to fall back towards here as well. Setting up this vision on the bottom side. Isles also in position as they look towards Tutsz.
I mean, two of the key parts of the combo, we're going to see them going on to Tutsz, and he's just dead, and he just completed his death cap. Ayu coming over here to try to back him up, but I don't know that there's an angle to even go for anything back off of this.
No, I mean, it does at least buy some space. Still going to look towards that mid lane tower. I think the Ziggs in this sort of position against the Cassiopeia going to be happy to take pop shots with the bombs at the Cassiopeia, but LYON, not as you say, in a position to really step up here. Don't want to commit. They're just going to go over towards the Baron instead.
Yep, they got to start the Baron here. We'll see if they're going to be able to pull this off. Tutsz will have TP when he is up, but it is still going to be 25 seconds. Not the fastest Baron, though, for LYON at all. Dhokla is tanking it for the team, but he's taking quite a bit of damage. He megas out now, and I think they're realizing, you know what, this just isn't realistically going to work.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of a mixed call, because Inspired was on the bottom side of the map, wasn't able to reconnect with the team because Furia cut him off in the mid lane, and then with the Mega Gnar already burnt by Dhokla, I don't think you really have the ability to turn on a fight either, so they have to back away. So it's a pick, but nothing more.
Exactly, and it is still Furia, down a couple thousand gold, but on the other side of that, they are the ones on Soul Point. They have wards in this area, so I don't think they're going to be able to really sneak anything. And even if LYON are in a pretty good spot, hey, you lose one smite on the next dragon, that's Soul going the way of Furia. Which is a very powerful Soul this game, I feel like, on both sides, with all of these melee champions, all of this
didn't matter in the last game, though.
Mobility. That's true. Uh-oh.
Styles?
Seen this one before as Guigo is hunting for him. Dhokla trying to get involved, but down comes Tatu. Miles kiting it out. LYON has the first move. The TP going to be coming in, and nice sidestep there for Miles, but is the hook shot back up? He's going to go back in. Dhokla now trying to buy time, build that Gnar bar. Berserker, Saint, Inspired, everyone coming in to reinforce. Dhokla about to make out, but they're going to try to just one-shot him, but he gets into the Mega, he stuns into the wall, the Ziggs all lands, and the damage is coming through from LYON. Inspired to the backline, trying to survive, but he can't quite do it. It's IU crushing them. It's Berserker, the only one who can deal damage from this spot. Flash back in, multi-man taunt. They burst down Tutsz, but IU is rocking this fight. It's a double for Berserker. Saint goes back in with his dying breath, but Berserker is out of mana, and LYON cannot get more. It is a bloodbath in the bot lane, but we're seeing Cassio shine in these extended fights.
The AP carries are trying to do so much work as JoJo, he steps up, but does he go down? No!
Well, Tatu is coming in behind him, and they have got to be careful from this spot. They're delaying the base because the dragon is spawning here in 30, so pretty critical buying of time there, but JoJo's still got to go back to base. IU's still got to go back to base as well.
But IU getting so much gold in that last fight, has the teleport to get back out, and it's that consistent damage of the Cassiopeia that makes the difference, because everyone jumps on towards Dhokla here, but that's perfect for LYON with that combo that we talked about. Berserker getting a ton of damage off of the ultimate. Inspire goes into the back line to try and buy the space, but IU's damage is absurd right now. And even here, Saint thinks maybe we can buy that little bit here as he flashes back in, and it does get a kill, but it's Berserker starting to run out of mana, whereas IU is firing on all cylinders, pop shots everywhere as LYON now in front of this dragon, TP in, and it looks like JoJo might be caught.
Yeah, IU is really low as well. IU just got chunked out there by Berserker, and IU's trying to go back to base. The question is, does he have the teleport to rejoin once again? Completes the recall here. Dhokla charging up that Gnar bar, and IU does have the TP. It's going to be spotted here. Tutsz looking for a potential flank here as Miles trying to set up. They do not see Tutsz whatsoever, and he could one-shot Berserker if he gets in, but Tatu goes early. Tatu gets taunted. Berserker into the stasis, trying to stay alive as Dhokla's in the backline. IU trying to cut it out. Here comes Guigo. He wants Berserker, but he can't find him just yet. In comes Saint with the hero's entrance. They're trying to chase for IU. They want JoJo. They want so much more. But the question is, can they actually lock him down and knock him down? JoJo's gonna fall. IU gets taunted up. Here comes Inspire, but he's stuck in the miasma. He's got a kite. Saint will be able to seal the deal. They get the kills. They get the dragon. They control the map. And LYON show up big in the late game.
LYON laser focus onto Tatu on the play. Prevent that 1-2 punch with the mid laner. And just like that, they want to start marching down this bottom lane. The death timers not that high for Tatu and Tutsz. This is just, I feel like, going to be the take on the inhibitor on a reset.
Yeah, we'll see how much they want to go for it. They're positioning to try to end the game, and they feel that there is an angle. Tatu's up in 5, Tutsz is up in 7, but Berserker is low with no Zonias. The first tower gets one shot, but Berserker has to be careful. Tatu just going to flash through the team, look to one-shot Berserker, but he can't do it. Tutsz misses everything. He goes in for Berserker, and he pays the price as Berserker blows him away. LYON, though, have no wave, and they won't be able to close it just yet. They can go mid and look for more.
Guigo has that public execution up and available, and there are very low health bars here. JoJo, the flash ultimate could be enough, but Dhokla needs to be so careful. They don't want to give across more. Baron's up if they go down here.
Yeah, he's got to run. The boomerang slow, but he gets connected on. Look at Isles coming in from behind, and the hero's entrance. IU into the zone, he's buying some time. Dhokla goes mega, stuns him into the wall, and IU has fallen. And with that, maybe the hopes of Furia. Guigo takes a couple to the grave with him, though, as JoJo is on the run. Berserker has returned, and Berserker is big man on campus. A full 6-item Ziggs means this game is over. LYON battling back and forth with Furia, taking us to match point.
This series is insane. So back and forth, both teams throwing everything they have, but by some miracle LYON are sitting 2-0 against Furia.